Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to this demo session. I will show you the latest advances in ARQAN and ARQCode tool. Those tools are for managing and labeling security requirements. So the goal is to identify security requirements among all the requirements and also to provide recommendations based on security technology implementation guides by NIST and other companies. So we specifically created a demo and specifically created a robot or robotic workflow for GitHub platform. GitHub platform is a specific platform that for open source projects, but also for companies and private projects, where we usually store the code, but also can manage various requirements for the project. For example, through the issues list. For example, here I have a number of requirements related to security, and so they are managed through this system. So these requirements come from our end users and various standards, and so we can navigate in that, label them, but also analyze them, reply to them, provide recommendations, check for recommendations, right? And our tool will actually help us to do so. Typically, the tool is quite easily can be integrated. The thing is, very diverse project and SOAP team in particular, we provide a specific packaged action for the hub. So adding a simple configuration file to the repository enables this security requirements analysis. So we just need to provide user ID and password for our ARQAN system. All right, and based on that, it can readily work. For example, here I have the similar repository, it's the same repository. So I here will add a new issue, so requirements in GitHub called issues. So I'm adding it here. It comes from a T database, but also from our end user who would like to see whether we have any particular recommendations for this security requirements. So I submit this issue, and from this moment, the system, the workflow, automated workflow starts to work. And there is something behind the schema. So the scene that actually runs. Okay, so we have here this requirement being identified as a security one. We have now various recommendations coming from the stick database, and also we have specific automated test cases with our system called requirements as a code ARQCode. So first of all, let's look on this recommendation. So this, for example, comes directly, so it's a direct mapping of the first one. So the system should not have unencrypted passwords for SMB servers to share the files under the Windows system. So in this particular demo, we'll look into specific requirements for Windows 10 as one of the requirements of our end users. So, but related to this SMB requirement, we have also a number of other requirements that quite related. Our end users also reported that these recommendations are quite valid. For example, like disallowing specific protocols, also perform packet signing. So those are very relevant requirements for the system. So, for example, if we want to check this requirement or this rule, security technology implementation guide rule, so we can actually click on that one. So this link provided by the tool, and look inside. Also, you will see that there are some technical details for checking if this requirement or a rule is implemented. So we need to configure Windows 10 in a specific way. And also there are some rules how to enforce, right? How to fix if this vulnerability is present, how to fix it. So this is something that can be done manually, but also we provide specific tools called like ARQAN code that actually help us to check whether this rule or requirement is implemented in the system or not. And in case it's not implemented, um, we provide a specific facility to enforce this rule and implement it. Also, it should be noted that we implemented more than 160 of such rules for Windows 10 system, which is very well appreciated by our end users. So let's go and check. So I have a specific virtual machine here with Windows 10 that actually uh, has already like we can check and try and test it whether it implements this rule. So for that, I can actually use this command. So RQ code here is other open source project by Softeam as a part of the DevOps initiative, and we can actually see how those rules are implemented in RQ code. RQ code is requirements as a code. It provides a set of, let's say, a description of requirements in natural language, but also specific tests to check and enforce the requirements. So this is code in Java, but as a user, so as a developer, I can extend it, I can import it to my project, so I can see other rules and see whether something else is applies to me. But as an end user, I can simply just use the packaged version of RQ code and check whether this particular requirement is implemented in my system or not. So we have several of those. So let's start and copy this one, 220926. Okay, so I have here my virtual machine, okay, and I will uh, uh, let us check this one if it is already implemented in my system, so my system under test. So let us check. Okay, it's working. It's created a specific script, and it's actually showed what it's supposed to do based on the details provided in the stick database. And this particular one, hopefully, it is already implemented, so that's fine. Okay, but let's check if the other ones are also implemented. So let's check for this one, for example, so which is also looks like very relevant for as one of the rules to secure Windows 10, and in particular, its service called SMB server. Let's go and check. So I have another one. Let's try ask RQ code if this one is also implemented. Okay, it's working. It will show the script that executes and the rules applied. And for this one, it also passes. So okay, very good. So let's us check another one for the packet signing. Okay, let me check this one as well. Okay, and I will check the packet signing requirements 7. Okay, and it seems it fails, so it means that this vulnerability signing is not enabled for a moment. So what I would do, I will actually secure my system. So I will go and tell RPA code, let's enforce this rule. Enforce. Okay. Now this automated test will run, and automated procedure will secure this rule. Okay, so now it is successfully enforced, and check now it passes. So I can check again whether this rule is implemented in the system. And let us see now. Currently, it passes, right? So my check is fine. So this rule also occurred. So we automatically automated many of those rules for Windows 10. It's about 160, more than 160 different rules for Windows 10. It says more than 70% of all possible rules for Windows 10, which are currently registered in the database. So this can be automatically imported in the project and checked for various systems. And so we currently tested this with our end users and validated usefulness of this approach in the project. So just to remind you, so we have implemented specific continuous integration mechanism where called action, which represents specific workflow, automated workflow. As soon as we add a specific requirement to GitHub system, to GitHub project, we can now automatically create checks for those requirements, whether they are present in the database for STIGs, so Security Technology Implementation Guide. If they're present there, we can also check our repository for automated tests, right? And then with this particular system called ARQAN, we can automatically execute checks and enforce those rules in our target systems. So this shows automation from requirements in natural language, like this one or that one or that one, so which we can actually map to a base of security technology implementation guides and find corresponding tests, requirements as a code, right, that can help to verify and enforce whether this particular requirements is implemented. So it is done in automated way. So our tools help to analyze these requirements, security requirements, and secure the system. So thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please you can contact me.